Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following. Indiana University's Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, presenting Security Matters with tips for improving online security in 3 minutes or less. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk, the state approves the first needle exchange program under new legislation. But how long will it last?
Right now we are, desperately trying to seek as many donations as we can to keep it running as long as we can.
We talk to experts about how Indiana counties facing the threat of HIV outbreaks can keep from sharing the fate of Scott County, where nearly 160 people have contracted the virus. Governor Mike Pence is running for re-election. Ahead, how the issues he's championed the past 4 years could help and hurt his chances at a second term. And cities are becoming more reliant on alternative funding mechanisms to boost economic development. Are they working?
We don't see job growth, we don't see employment growth in manufacturing, and we see associated with them higher property tax rates.
We explain the ins and outs of special taxing districts, including one that covers a fifth of the city of Bloomington. These stories and a look at this week's top headlines right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. The county that's been hit hardest by the state's HIV outbreak will continue operating a needle exchange program for at least the next year. Indiana's State Health Commissioner approved Scott County's request to continue operating the program, which started after Governor Mike Pence signed an executive order in March. That order expires Sunday. And as Barbara Harrington reports, while the needle exchange won't go away, some are worried the funding will.
And at this time, we are going to hear the public hearing on the needle exchange program for Scott County residents.
It only took a matter of minutes for Scott County commissioners to unanimously approve continuing a needle exchange program aimed at curbing the alarming spread of HIV in the area.
I might entertain a motion.
During a public hearing earlier this week, no one spoke out for or against the program. It seemed all of the people in this room had come to a consensus. This was just something that had to be done.
We've been working really, really hard on this needle exchange program, and there was that small chance that we might not be able to continue that. And people would ask us, what are you going to do if it doesn't get passed? And we honestly did not know.
Since December, at least 160 people have been diagnosed with HIV, the majority of them from right here in Scott County. The state stepped in to help in March, setting up a one-stop shop where people can get tested, sign up for insurance, and enroll in the needle exchange. In the short time the program has been operating, health officials have handed out more than 16,000 needles, and they say it is making a difference.
I mean, our whole goal from the beginning was to stop the spread of HIV. And I know that we are doing that because I know personally of 5 people that we have in the needle exchange program that were tested for HIV in the beginning, and they were negative, and they were just retested, and they're all still negative. So I know we've helped at least 5 people.
Scott County is the first county in the state to operate a needle exchange program under recently passed legislation. The law allows counties at risk of an HIV outbreak to ask for permission to set up an exchange, with the state's health commissioner having final approval.
This morning, the state health commissioner approved a local needle exchange program in Scott County as allowed through Senate Enrolled Act 461.
But the legislation has no state funding tied to it, and that has some people worried.
Right now we're very lucky because we have had a lot of donations that have come in, money donations, and also donations of needles. And so right now we are, desperately trying to seek as many donations as we can to keep it running as long as we can.
Now Scott County has to figure out how to fund its long-term response to the HIV outbreak. Will they be left to come up with the money on their own, or will the state pitch in to help?
There are no state funds that are appropriated for needle exchange programs within individual counties, but counties can work with their partners to determine where those resources and funds may derive.
Scott County still plans to ask the state for help with funding the year-long needle exchange. Commissioners also want help paying for additional staffing at the county health department, which has been working overtime to combat HIV. They're requesting an incident coordinator who can deal specifically with the outbreak and an additional registered nurse.
That way it frees up our administrator to do the day-to-day operations that we had before. We still have them, goes on daily.
Without the state's help, it could be difficult for the county to come up with the money to continue its prevention efforts. But county commissioners say if they have to, they'll take the proposal to the county council, and they're confident they'll find a way to crunch the numbers.
Any county that tells you that they're not worried about funding, I'd say they're probably not being honest. So yes, I definitely, we worry about funding, but really, do we have a choice?
After 1 year, Scott County will reevaluate the needle exchange program to determine whether it needs to be continued. The State Department of Health says it hasn't received requests from any other counties wanting to start similar programs, but the possibility is there. Diane Janowitz is an infectious disease physician with IU Health. She's been working with a team of doctors in southeastern Indiana to combat the HIV epidemic, and she recently wrote a Time article on what steps like a needle exchange can be taken to prevent another outbreak. Thanks so much for joining us. You know, we've been talking about this, it seems like every week for the last month or so, but every time you see those numbers just kind of keep going up. I think we're up to, what, 166 right now. Do you know by chance, is it by chance that people are just coming forward, or are these prevention methods not working as well?
Well, I think the prevention methods are working. In fact, even though the numbers are continuing to climb, what we've seen is that each week the numbers that are positive, the number of people who are HIV infected are decreasing. So we're reaching that slope of the line where we're tapering off the number of new cases. So we have made a difference. You
pointed out that nationwide only about 8% of HIV cases are transmitted intravenous drug use. The rest are sexually transmitted. So does that mean that we need to rethink the way that we're educating people about HIV prevention at all?
I think so. So, you know, many people are aware of the risk factors for transmitting or acquiring HIV. But in some certain areas, we need to put emphasis on not only just the sexual transmission of HIV, but the transmission through IV drug use as well.
Do you expect other counties to start using the needle exchange program at all?
Well, so that's going to be up to each of the counties, and I think what's going to be important for them is to recognize the need for that. So they have to see that perhaps they have people who inject drugs and that those numbers are high, or perhaps they have a higher hepatitis C or a higher HIV prevalence than we see statewide. So those are clues to each county who would then decide whether or not this would be beneficial for them.
But there's still a political element for that to happen, right? The state health commissioner has to declare a public health emergency, and then from that point on, there's some final approval. Do you think there would be a lot of red tape that the counties would have to go through that might not be done in time to help at all?
Well, so I think each of the counties is going to have to recognize the need that they have. And there are many state health officials and local health officials, as well as healthcare providers, who can help each local community recognize the warning signs that perhaps this too, what happened in Scott County, can happen to them, and then perhaps prevent that outbreak with implementing this, as well as many other mechanisms that exist.
You and many others have been in Scott County. What happens when all of you leave? How do they transition?
Well, so there's absolutely going to be a transition plan, and ultimately what we need to do is make sure that the infrastructure is there so that this community can sustain itself. And that infrastructure incorporates many different aspects of care, so not just medical care, but behavioral health and mental rehabilitation services as well.
One more quick question, just regarding non-healthcare factors. Are there other things that counties can do, like Scott County, for HIV prevention?
Well, I think it's got to be a multifactorial approach. So you have to have a lot of infrastructure from the standpoint of behavioral and mental health rehab. We have care coordinators who are helping all of our patients in Scott County access all of those other services. And so they're instrumental in a holistic approach to anybody who has HIV or any other chronic health problems.
All right, thank you very much for being here today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And now for news headlines, we go over to Lindsey Wright, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thank you, Joe. Some students attending IU Bloomington won't see a tuition increase next year. The university is proposing a tuition freeze for undergraduate in-state students. Out-of-state students and undergraduate students at regional campuses will face about a 1.5% increase. IU Chief Financial Officer Mary Frances McCourt says the state has been putting pressure on universities to keep tuition low, and lawmakers are giving IU more money over the next 2 years in order to do that.
I think since the financial crisis, really when you look at wage levels across all wage tiers, it's been tough. I mean, real wage has been tough. So although the state is one of those factors, there are many factors that come into our decisions.
Ivy Tech and Purdue University are also implementing tuition freezes next year. The Indiana Department of Transportation is considering more than a dozen routes for the final leg of Interstate 69. INDOT unveiled the options at a series of hearings this week where they asked residents which route they would prefer. Many Martinsville residents say the interstate could spur economic growth, so it needs to go through Martinsville, not around it.
We live in a great area. We're close to Indianapolis. Martinsville and that area needs to grow.
INDOT is also conducting a study to determine the effects certain routes would have on the environment. St. Mary of the Woods College near Terre Haute is going co-ed after being an all-female college for more than 175 years. The Board of Trustees is concerned that many women aren't even considering attending the liberal arts college because it doesn't accept male undergraduate students. It does already accept male graduate students and allows men to take classes online. The college will begin accepting male undergraduate applications this fall. The small town of French Lick is being thrust into the national spotlight this week. This year's senior PGA Championship is expected to draw thousands.
Brian Carnes is up at 5:30 every morning preparing for a day of PGA golf. He's the championship director, so there's a lot to oversee.
The space that people kind of hang out.
Preparation started 2 years ago with developing site plans and configuring spectator views. But putting together a championship golf tournament in a town of less than 2,000 people is quite the task.
It's different because you're really the biggest fish in the pond here. This is the biggest show, and it's probably one of the biggest events they'll ever have in a community this size.
Carnes says the biggest challenge was finding 1,600 volunteers to help out this week. They've also had to work on transportation to and around the course. But he says the reaction has been positive.
Shock and awe, I think. They come in here and you can't imagine that a golf course like this is built here. And so I think it's really fun to see the looks on their face.
But PGA President Derek Sprague says when it comes down to it, the success of this week will be how the golf course holds up.
We always look for great golf courses, and Pete Dye has really designed a real gem here in French Lick. Very challenging golf course. We want a challenging golf course to host majors.
County officials are hoping the 40,000 visitors they are expecting will bring in more than $15 million to the local economy. The tournament ends Sunday.
The Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals is ruling for a second time that the University of Notre Dame must comply with the Affordable Care Act's birth control mandate. The appeals court took a second look at the case after the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Hobby Lobby in a similar case last year. But the appeals court reaffirmed that the Obama administration has provided the university an adequate alternative to directly providing its employees birth control. Beginning next year, mountain bikers in state parks must have a $5 daily permit or a $20 annual permit in addition to the regular park entrance fees. The permit will not be required for beginner trails. The Hoosier Mountain Bike Association spoke in support of the measure at a Natural Resources Commission meeting this week.
So we've really focused on quality over quantity. We've built trails that people have traveled from all over the country to come ride. We feel that we've built a amenity for folks in Indiana that are worth paying money for, that folks in Indiana should be proud of.
Cyclists also asked the state to consider allocating more resources to mountain biking facilities now that they would be paying a fee. The permits are expected to bring in $60,000 per year. Well, an updated phone app could help homeowners combat the invasive emerald ash borer that's been killing ash trees across the state. The Tree Doctor app from Purdue University provides users photos so they can compare their own ash trees to ones infected with the emerald ash borer. And the app provides recommendations on how to treat the trees and get rid of the bug.
We know, say for Japanese beetles, that if you want to have roses, you're going to have to protect your roses from the Japanese beetles. If you're going to want to keep your ash tree, you're going to have to protect your ash tree from the emerald ash borer. The problem is that this is a boring insect, and that when the trees are no longer producing leaves, it's because they're too sick to produce leaves.
And Joe, the emerald ash borer is spreading so rapidly, it's already been found in nearly all of Indiana's 92 counties.
Yeah, I remember talking with Terre Haute Mayor Duke Bennett back in February about the trees that have to be removed this spring. Thanks, Lindsay. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. Mike Pence might have a tougher time getting elected next year than he did in 2012. Our State House reporter explains what the governor faces as he launches his re-election campaign. And are special taxing districts being used too much? We look into how so-called TIF districts can improve a city's economy or send it into a downward spiral. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
We are a nation of explorers. We seek new ways of living, of thinking, and of expressing ourselves. We take risks, we learn from experience, and we keep moving forward. That's why we encourage and celebrate the explorer in all of us. Turn to PBS for stories that define the American experience.
All of this stuff was just erupting.
Revealing our strengths.
You create a new future.
Our struggles.
It's very American to say, this is not right.
These are our stories.
We were so innocent, and oddly enough, we were so American.
Our American experience.
Tuesday evening at 9.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Governor Mike Pence is running for re-election. He won't make an official announcement until June 18th at a state GOP dinner, but the chairman of the Indiana Republican Party confirmed this week the governor does plan to seek a second term. This comes after months of speculation that Pence might instead run for national office. His name was often mentioned as a presidential candidate, but a lot has changed in just the past couple months. For more analysis, we go to State House reporter Brandon Smith at the Capitol. Brandon, what prompted the governor's decision to run for re-election instead of throwing his hat in the ring for president?
Well, we can't know for sure what was in the governor's head, but recent controversies, including the near creation of what appeared to be a state-run news agency, and of course all the backlash surrounding the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, really silenced much talk of a national presidential run. And the day after session, though Pence didn't confirm his re-election bid, he did note he's been preparing for a second run for governor since he took office.
Though I imagine those issues won't go away during his gubernatorial bid, though.
Not at all, though there is some question of how fresh they'll be in voters' minds since the election is a long way away. Now, recent poll numbers do suggest that Pence might be in some trouble, but it's worth noting that Mitch Daniels had similar numbers before his re-election campaign, and of course, he went on to a landslide victory.
So what will the governor focus now during this campaign?
It will likely be in part what he's trumpeted so far in his time in office, signing into law hundreds of millions in tax cuts his first year, leading the way in creating a state-funded preschool pilot program, and providing health care to 300,000 uninsured Hoosiers through his HIP 2.0 program.
Do you think those accomplishments that will be enough to win him re-election?
Well, that depends a little on who he's running against. One potential opponent is John Gregg, the former Speaker of the House, who ran against Pence in 2012 and only lost by 3 percentage points. There's also talk State Superintendent Glenda Ritz might get into the race, and she'd bring with her a mountain of support from teachers. Worth noting is that recent history is on Pence's side. It's been 40 years since an Indiana governor wasn't elected to consecutive terms, when Edgar Whitcomb opted not to run for re-election.
Okay, thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Joe.
The Bloomington City Council Wednesday approved a nearly $50 million bond that will go toward redevelopment in the city. It's part of what's become known as Bloomington's Super TIF, TIF standing for Tax Increment Financing District. It's a district that has a special finance structure so the city can capitalize on future taxes. And cities are starting to rely on them much more heavily. In fact, 20% of Bloomington is within TIF districts. As Sarah Fenton reports, that's causing some people to worry about whether cities are using the tool as a crutch for poor financial governance.
Less than a year ago, Hopscotch Coffee took a risk and opened on a newly developed section of the Beeline Trail in Bloomington.
We've been sort of the brave pilgrims, I guess, if that's the metaphor we want to use, and we can report that it's going really well.
Being on the Beeline Trail has been a big part of Hopscotch Coffee's success. The coffee shop gets foot traffic from the trail, and as other businesses open nearby, the number of those customers is likely to increase.
We've been really excited about what's happening here. We've felt really supported.
The Beeline is an example of a project funded partially by TIFs doing exactly what it's supposed to do. When TIFs work correctly, they encourage new businesses like Hopscotch to open and revitalize communities. So what are TIFs? TIF stands for Tax Increment Financing. When a TIF district is established, the city takes out loans that go toward building up business in a specific area, such as Bloomington's Beeline Trail. They use that money to increase amenities, such as sewage lines, bike lanes, and sidewalks in the area to make it more attractive and increase property values.
What you're trying to do is build amenities and develop properties that will attract businesses to come into the areas.
In other words, if property values go up, so do property taxes, and that extra money gets funneled back into redeveloping that area.
You're hopeful that you will see continued growth because you're redeveloping an area, that the assessed value will grow. There'll be other development that happens because of it, and you collect the funds to go inside the TIF.
But a city can't just designate a TIF district and wait for money to roll in. They need to have a plan to jumpstart the process. Again, look at the Beeline.
What you're beginning to see is businesses are buying property and building or redeveloping properties or undeveloped properties along that. So they're becoming both employment centers and living as well. So you see different kinds of growth.
But critics say TIF districting at best is ineffective and at worst destructive, increasing property tax burdens and taking money away from other needed services. Ball State economist Michael Hicks co-authored a study that shows many TIF districts don't have a positive impact on communities at all.
What we found, like many others did, that the economic benefits of TIFs aren't materializing. We don't see job growth. We don't see assessed value growth in the county that they're used in. We don't see employment growth in manufacturing, and we see associated with them higher property tax rates on households within the county.
He uses Delaware County, where Ball State is located, as an example. Several years ago, the county designated this renewable energy business park a TIF district, but without a comprehensive plan, the business park has remained largely empty, and that means it isn't bringing in much tax revenue. Hicks says the problem is the county is cash-strapped, and it's been using the TIF model to avoid spending money out of its general fund to attract businesses to the area.
TIFs, where the dollars are used solely for routine government budget purposes, no matter how meritorious they are, they're not living up to their billing.
Hicks says using TIF money for, say, police equipment or trash cleanup defeats their very purpose. Bloomington officials say that's not a problem in their city.
If we don't think it's going to grow, and if we don't think it's going to redevelop, and if there's not a good plan there, there's not going to be any increments. So you're doing a lot of work for an area that you wouldn't be able to reinvest in.
But some city council members and Mayor Mark Cruzan say more oversight of TIF dollars is needed. The City Plan Commission is in the middle of debating a proposal that would put more restrictions on how TIF dollars are spent.
The Bloomington Planning Commission still has to vote on the TIF restrictions. Half of the $50 million bond the City Council approved this week will go toward creating the Switchyard Park on the south side of the Beeline Trail. Mayor Cruzan says work there will begin soon.
We already are ready to go. We'll start to reach out with contractors to, again, get the blueprints in place for the Switchyard Park that will help us in our negotiations with developers and the Certified Tech Park.
Switchyard Park will include a splash pad, dog park, and basketball court. And the Indianapolis 500 gets underway this weekend, but there was another race that happened this week. 5 speedy tortoises raced for the finish line this week in the annual Zoopolis 500. Crowds gathered at the Indianapolis Zoo Wednesday to cheer on their favorite turtle as they made their way to an enticing finish line, a buffet of fruits. Of course, in car racing fashion, the winner, Marco, also received a full glass of milk. How about that? Isn't that fun? And he's a 3-time winner, too.
That's incredible. You know, I'm kind of wondering what the world record is in tortoise speed. It might be interesting to find out.
Well, and there's a lot going on this weekend, Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, Indy 500, the PGA Tour, a lot of fun things to take advantage of.
Exactly. That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following. Indiana University's Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, presenting Security Matters, with tips for improving online security in 3 minutes or less. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. And by WTIU members. Thank you.